let's go ahead and get ourselves started. So have a seat if you're not already seated in a comfortable position where you can get a nice, straight, aligned spine. Shoulders are relaxed, your jaw is relaxed, everything feels pretty comfy. So take a deep breath in and a big sigh through the mouth, just signaling that we are ready to turn our attention inward and see how we're doing today. So if you're comfortable with your eyes closed, close your eyes and just start noticing how your body feels, all of the sensations. And then we'll start breathing a little deeper and slower. Ujjayi breathing is always preferable if you can. And then check in with your thoughts, your emotions, your energy, even your sense of connection to yourself and to everything else around you and above you. And then use all of that information that you've gathered to determine what would be most beneficial to you today from your practice. And then you can use that to set your intention. So we bring our palms together in front of our hearts. We set our intention for practice so that we can receive what we need. And then take an extra deep breath in and exhale through the mouth. Relax your arms, roll your shoulders back a couple of times. And we will just move on to hands and knees and begin some cat-cow stretches. So we just want to loosen up the spine a little bit. Inhaling is the arching movement and exhaling is the rounding movement. So just loosening the spine, arching and rounding. And then when you're ready, go ahead and take your backside to your heels, forehead down for child's pose. Scoot forward into Sphinx, lengthening out the spine and also feeling the abdomen and the chest opening. So this tractions the low back, and yet it's also a front body opener. And that's kind of what our emphasis is going to be today, is front body opening. So that's front of the shoulders, the chest, the abdomen, the front of the hips. After you've had a moment in your Sphinx to really feel all of that stretching and opening, we'll take our first downward facing dog. So spread the fingers, plant the hands, tailbone up and back, shoulders spreading apart. You're welcome to pedal the feet a little bit if you need to. And then just find some nice length in the spine. From here, we'll walk the feet forward slowly. Keep the knees bent and relax the neck, just dangling in ragdoll. And then on your next inhale, reach the arms all the way up and overhead. As you exhale, palms together in front of the heart. Inhale, reach your arms up, spread your fingers, lift your chest, reach the rib cage back a little bit if this feels okay in your spine. And you can continue to do this with each breath. We're here for 3 more breaths, so make sure that your neck and your back and everything feel okay. But if you can, you're going to keep lifting the rib cage up and rolling it back a little bit with every breath. And then on your next exhale, fold all the way forward. Get your fingertips down to the mat, even if you need to bend your knees to get there. And then inhale, look up and lengthen. And exhale, back down. We're going to step back with the left foot. Just taking that nice big lunge, allowing the hips to kind of sink and settle a moment. And then we'll drop the left knee down. I want you to go ahead and bring the arms up and overhead. Tuck your tailbone under, lift your chest, let the hips sink forward. And kind of like we did when we were arching back earlier, I want you to just play with it and obviously be kind to your body. But if it feels okay for you, on your inhales, lift the chest. And on the exhales, slightly roll it back. Now that doesn't mean that you should back up out of your hip stretch. You want to keep tilting the pelvis and letting the hips move forward. Good. Go ahead and bring the hands down on either side of your right foot. Gaze forward and extend your right leg. Flex the ankle and toes. Pull your chest forward. And then go ahead and bend your right knee. Let your right knee come back to meet your left knee. You can wag your tail a moment if you need to. Child's pose if you need to, but I'm going to ask you just for this once, if you can, to step into plank and lower yourself all the way down to the ground. Untuck your toes, and we're just going to do a cobra. And it'll be a baby cobra, but it's a nice way to open up the chest and the front of the shoulders. So pull your shoulders down the back and pin your elbows in towards your sides. And then just a small amount, start to kind of peel your chest up off the floor. Take another breath here. And then downward facing dog. Really press your hips up and back and stretch. And then take a big step forward with your left foot. So now we're in that deep lunge on the left side. Go ahead and drop your right knee down. Let's bring the arms up and overhead. Tuck the tailbone under. Let those hips move forward until you feel this on the front of your right hip. And then let's do like we've done in the other moves, only within reason. Inhaling, lifting the chest, and exhaling, maybe rolling it back a little bit. But we want to keep that right hip opening so it's still moving forward. Both hands come down either side of the left foot. Extend your left leg. Flex the ankle and toes. Pull your heart forward. And then let's step forward to our standing forward bend. Inhale, reach the arms all the way up. Maybe reach back a little bit. Exhale, palms together in front of the heart. Inhale, reach up. And exhale, fold all the way forward. Look up halfway. And then back down. This time we're going to step back with our right foot. Nice long lunge. Drop the right knee down. And I'm going to have you come up with your hands on top of the left thigh this time. Tuck your tailbone under. Let the hips move forward. Take your right arm up in the air. See if you can lean back a little bit. Maybe a little bit to the left. Now you're going to bring your right arm in front of you. Reach your left arm behind you. It's kind of like how I have you rotate in some of our other classes. And then you're just going to see what it feels like to put your left hand, the one that's reaching behind you, on the back of your right thigh and reach that right arm back again. So you want to keep your pelvis tilting back. Right front hip is opening. Right side of the torso is opening. Let's go ahead and bring this right hand all the way down to the ground. Take your left hand up towards the ceiling. And then take your left arm over your head, parallel to the ground. So your left upper arm is kind of by your left ear. Go ahead and bring your left hand down to the mat now. Those of you taking vinyasas, please feel free to take one. Otherwise, left knee meets right knee, and we move into our child's pose and take a breath. From here, you can scoot forward into either Sphinx or a nice low cobra like we did last time through. You choose. And then downward facing dog. Big step forward with the right foot. We're going to drop the left knee down and come up with both hands on top of the right thigh. Tuck your tailbone under. Let the hips sink forward. Take your left arm up and kind of dial in your stretch. So we're leaning back a little bit, maybe a little to the right. Really kind of opening up front of that left hip. Then I want you to bring your left arm in front of you. Just open your right arm out behind you, so you're in that rotation that we frequently do, except now we're going to try and take it a little deeper if you can. Your right hand will come to the back of your left thigh, and that left arm reaches up and back. Slightly deeper stretch. Keep your pelvis tilted back. We're going to bring this left hand all the way down to the floor and take the right hand up towards the ceiling. And then bring your right arm over your head, parallel to the ground. So your right upper arm is by your ear. And then go ahead and bring your right hand down, step forward to a standing forward bend. Inhale the arms up. And exhale, palms together in front of the heart. From here, I'd like you to separate your feet about hip distance if they're not already, and step your left leg back, flattening that heel out to come into warrior one. So your right knee is bent. You want your knee to track over your second toe. We're kind of tilting the pelvis back if possible. Taking a breath here. Then I want you to take your left hand to the back of your left thigh. This is the easier version. Keep your right knee bent. We're just going to reach back a little bit with our right arm. It's kind of like a warrior one, reverse warrior. Bring your left arm back up. If you can, right hand to the back of the left thigh, left arm reaches back. You'll notice this is kind of like what we did when we were on our knee, except it's a little deeper now. Come back up into your warrior one, straighten your right leg, hinge at your hips, and just lengthen your spine down, keeping your back flat. So your hands can either be on your right shin, they could be on blocks, or if you can keep your back flat, you can get your hands to the ground, whatever works for you. Take one more breath. And then just step your left foot forward if you can. Inhale the arms up. Exhale, prayer. Feet are hip distance, and then we're going to do the other side. So the right leg steps back. We want the right leg straight, right foot flat. Left knee is bent, hips are rotating forward, arms are up, and we're just kind of tilting the pelvis back and holding this for breath to find our stretch. So first, we take the right hand to the back of the right thigh, and we reach that left arm back. We bring our right arm back up, and now we go the deeper version. If you can, your left hand is on the back of the right thigh, and your right arm is reaching back. Bring that left arm back up. Come on up and straighten your left leg. Hinge at your hips and lengthen forward. You want the longest spine possible. And again, when you get to your stretch point with your left leg straight, hands are either on your shin, or they can be on blocks, or they can be on the ground, but you want to keep your back nice and flat. And then go ahead and step your right foot forward, standing forward bend. Inhale the arms up. And exhale, palms together in front of your heart. So I've kind of had you do some weird reverse twisty things, and we're going to continue that theme with a very non-traditional dancer pose. So always in dancer, we grab same foot and hand, but today we're going to reverse that. And so I just want you to know it's going to look different, it's going to feel different, and chances are you're not going to lean very far forward, and that's okay. So if you can, stand on your right foot first, and what this means is your left arm is going to go up in the air. Your right hand is going to reach back, and if you can, grab your left foot. Everything else is the same. We tuck the tailbone under, we lift our chest, and we press the leg back until we feel opening, in this case on the front of the left hip and front of the right shoulder. Now you can lean a little bit if you like. It's up to you, but it's not necessary. We're just opening up the front of the body. Take 2 more breaths if you can. Come all the way back up and release. Roll your shoulders back. Now we're standing on the left foot. That means your right arm is going up in the air. Your left hand is going to reach back for your right foot, opposite hand to foot. Then everything else is the same. Tailbone tucks under, chest lifts. When we pull the leg back, back, back behind us to find sensation in the front of the left shoulder, front of the right hip and thigh. You can lean a little bit if you want to, but it's not necessary. We're just working on opening up the front of the body. Come all the way back up and release. Feet together, palms together. Inhale, reach your arms up and stretch. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale and look up halfway. And exhale back down. Now we're going to step back with our left foot. Big step back into that nice deep lunge. Drop your left knee down. Keep the toes of your left foot turned under. We're going to do the gentle version of things today. So what I'd like you to do is just have your left hand at your left glute, kind of like just above your bum, right, on your sacrum. Tuck your tailbone under, push your hips forward, and then reach your right arm back. You want to feel this for sure in the front of your left hip and the right side of the chest. Now, only if you have a very happy bendy back should you take your left hand back for your left heel. It's totally unnecessary. Just take 1 more breath. And then I want you to bring both hands down inside that right foot. You're going to come onto your left forearm or a block and take your right hand towards the ceiling. And just like we did earlier on an exhale, take your right arm over your head, parallel to the floor. And then bring both hands back onto the mat, taking a vinyasa if you choose, or moving into child's pose. Taking a breath in child's pose. And then scooting into either Sphinx or Cobra, either one. And then we'll all meet up in downward facing dog. Just stretching back, lengthening. And then take a big step forward with your left foot. So now we're in that nice deep lunge. You're going to go ahead and drop your right knee down. Keep the toes of your right foot turned under. And come on up. So again, setting this all up the same way. Right hand is at the sacrum or just above your right buttock. Tuck your tailbone under, sink your hips forward, reach your left arm up and back. Make sure you're feeling this in the front of your right hip, left side of the chest. If you want, your right hand can reach back for your right heel, but it's not necessary. You can keep your right hand at your hip. We're going to come up from that and bring both hands down inside the left foot. Come onto your right forearm or a block. Take your left hand to the ceiling and then take it over your head, left upper arm by ear. Both hands down. Left knee meets right knee. Wag the tail a little bit. And take a child's pose. And stay in your child's pose for a couple of breaths. And then we're coming straight up into kneeling. So half camel. You've already done a million variations of it, truly. But we're just going to do proper half camel today. So toes are turned under if you need to be able to reach a heel. But remember, just like the move we just did, you don't ever have to take your hands off your hips if you don't want to, and you're also welcome to use a block. But what we're going to do is put our hands on our hips, tuck the tailbone under, push the hips forward. You should already start to feel this in the front of the hips. Now, you can leave your right hand where it is and take your left arm up and back. And then if you want to go deeper, once you've already got your stretch sensation, then you take your right hand to your right heel. Hips are pushing forward. Tailbone is tucked. Left side of the chest is opening. Then we come back up. Hands on the hips, pelvis tilts back, pelvis pushes forward. Left hand stays on the hip as the right arm reaches back. Once you are at your stretch point, then, only then, should you attempt to reach for your left heel if you choose. But remember, you don't have to. Come all the way back up. Let your backside find your heels. Forehead down, child's pose. Full on Balasana, hands by your feet, palms up if you can. And then from here, those of you that like vinyasas, you can take one more. The rest of us will go ahead and transition into either Sphinx or Cobra. Chest pulling forward. And then downward facing dog. Once you've had a moment to really lengthen your spine in your down dog, you can walk your feet forward to a standing forward bend. Inhale, reach your arms all the way up and overhead. And as you exhale, bring your palms together in front of your heart. Turn sideways on your mat and just take a nice wide side step. We're going to have the toes pointing directly forward because we're going to interlace our fingers behind the back, squeeze the shoulder blades together, opening up the front of the shoulders and the chest. But we're going to hinge at the hips, relax the neck, and reach those arms up and overhead. While you're still hanging forward, release your hands down to the mat. And start walking them forward. If you have really tight hamstrings, you might want to use a block under your hands. So what I'd like you to be mindful of is not letting your bum go forward. You want to keep your weight on your heels. Let the arms extend forward and then let the chest kind of sink. So actually here, it's kind of like a really wide-legged down dog, but I want you to let your heart drop down towards the mat. You should feel this as an armpit stretch, maybe even as a belly stretch. Take one more breath. And then you can walk your hands back onto the mat. Toe heel the feet in towards each other. Take a big inhale, reach the arms up and maybe even back a little bit. And as you exhale, come back to the front of the mat, feet together, palms together. This time we're going to inhale and reach the arms up and interlace the fingers, pressing the palms up towards the ceiling. So I want you to just, again, be very mindful of your back, but you're a little warmer now. So let's see how it feels. First, just reaching the palms skyward. In other words, creating as much length in your spine as possible. Then slightly tucking the tailbone under to lengthen the low back. Lifting the rib cage even more, maybe rolling it back slightly. Now, keep your head neutral if you've got neck issues. If you have a very happy neck, you can let the head drop back. But usually it's best to keep the ears between the upper arms. We're here for 3 more breaths. Make sure you can maintain length in your lumbar spine. On your next inhale, you're going to come all the way up, and as you exhale, fold into your standing forward bend. And we're going to take it even deeper with our forward bend as a counter pose now. So I'd like you to bend your knees a little bit. Put your hands on the back of your calves with your fingers pointing down towards your heels. Let your torso rest on top of your thighs. Take a deep breath in. As you exhale, curl your forehead towards your shins. Release your hands down and step straight back, downward facing dog, and stretch. From here, we're going to drop just the right knee down. Kick the right foot out for balance. Spin the left heel flat. We're taking left hand up towards the ceiling because on your next exhale, I want you to roll open. Let that left arm drop behind you. And then just play with moving your left arm a little bit. So you should be feeling left side of the chest in front of the left shoulder opening. And you might even be lucky enough to feel it on the right side of your chest. One more breath here. And then bring your left hand back down and pick your right knee back up. Downward facing dog. From this down dog, drop your left knee. Kick the left foot back for balance. Right heel spins flat. Right hand reaches for the ceiling. And then you just roll your chest open as much as you comfortably can. And then move that right arm up and down, back and forth. Just playing with getting a little more chest and front shoulder opening. And bring your right hand back down, pick your left knee up, downward facing dog. Really press your hips back, stretch. For those of you that need to, just take a child's pose. For those of you taking vinyasas, we'll kind of take one together. Anybody that feels like they've got the strength on this last one, shift into plank. Keep your toes turned under, drop your knees down. Let your toes continue to be in contact with your mat. Shift your torso forward slightly, shoulders down the back, elbows by sides as you drop your chest and your chin to the floor. So your toes are touching, your knees are touching, your chest and chin are touching, but your bum is in the air. You'll feel front side of the body is opening. You can just untuck your toes and lift the chest slightly for a nice cobra, front body opener, and then downward facing dog. So if you're not in down dog, meet us there. Lengthen and stretch as much as you can. And then we'll walk our feet forward and have a seat with the legs extended in Dandasana, staff pose. You want to make sure you feel your sit bones, that your spine is long and straight, shoulders are relaxed, legs are active, and you're just kind of checking in to see how you're feeling. Inhale and reach your arms up. So you're going to feel your back slightly arch, and as you exhale, try and get your belly button to your thighs and the bottom of your chin towards your big toes. So in other words, you're not rounding forward, you are lengthening forward. Take a couple of breaths. Leave your legs just like they are. Come on up. Bring your hands behind you. And all we're going to do is lift up through the center of the chest and push it forward. So if you've got neck issues, continue to look forward. If your neck is a little happier, you can let the head drop back. But the idea is we're just lifting the chest and pushing it forward. Again, front body opening, but much gentler now. Take one more breath. And release. Come back up. You're going to go ahead and take the legs wide now into a nice wide V. Make sure you're on your sit bones. And if you're already feeling this in the inner thighs, with your hands behind you, then stay here. So toes are active and pointing up. If you feel like you can go a little deeper, then your hands can be in front of you, or you can grab your big toes or your shins. But keep your chest lifted. Remember, opening up the front side of the body, not rounding and closing it, but opening it. So again, that idea of the bottom part of the chin or your throat coming in contact with the ground rather than it being your head. Take a couple more deep, slow breaths here. And then you can just walk your hands back up. Bring the legs together in front of you. Keep your right leg straight. Bring your left foot to the inside of the right thigh. Go ahead and lean out over your right leg. Wherever your right hand is, leave it there. It's the perfect spot for it. All we're going to do is rotate the left hand up towards the ceiling as much as possible. So we're really just trying to open the chest here. Keep your left glute in contact with the mat, and on your next exhale, take your left arm over your head parallel to the ground. So what you should be feeling is left side of the chest is opening. Your chest is kind of pointing sideways. Hopefully you're getting some rotation. You should be feeling a lot of stretch and opening on the left side of the waist, as well as the front of the shoulder. Take one more breath. And then just come back up to sitting and pick your left knee up. Left hand is going to be behind you. Right arm just reaches around. If you can, on the outside of that left knee or thigh to twist. If you need to, you can just hug your left knee. Try and keep the spine straight. But I want you to notice what's going on with the front of your left shoulder and see if you can get it to open. And then extend your left leg as you return back to center. Bring your right foot to the inside of the left thigh and just lean out over your left leg. Take a couple of breaths. Wherever your left hand is, leave it there. It's in the perfect spot. Take your right hand up towards the ceiling. So again, we're really just kind of trying to rotate the torso and open the chest up a little bit. Keep the right hip in contact with the ground. And on your next exhale, take your right arm over your head, parallel to the ground, reaching and stretching. So we're opening the chest, we're opening the right side of the waist, outer right hip a little bit, we're breathing. And we come all the way back up and just pick that right knee up, right hand behind you, and you're either gonna hug your right leg or you can bring the left arm outside of it. Rotate back around, extend your right leg out. And then from here, you get to roll onto your back. So we're just gonna slowly come on down, hug the knees in, rock side to side. And then from here, we're gonna go straight into our bridge pose. So I'd like you to put your feet flat, big toes touching, heels separating. So we're gonna be up for a few breaths and there's gonna be some work involved. So just remember to breathe and honor your body, but I want you to be as cognizant of lifting your rib cage and your chest as you are of your hips. So here's how I'd like you to do it. Begin to peel your tailbone up off the mat and then start lifting the hips like we always do. And you can keep it mild to begin with. Then I want you to imagine that someone is poking you between your shoulder blades and you lift your chest. Really get your chest lifted. If you intend to, you're welcome to interlace your fingers underneath you. Now, once you get your chest really lifted, now we finish lifting the hips. Push through the heels, tighten your glutes. Really push the pubic bone towards the ceiling and keep lifting your rib cage. Don't forget to breathe. Push through the big toe sides of your feet. One more breath. And lower down slowly. Hug your knees in and rock side to side. So we're going to do our little chest opening twist. I want you to just keep both knees bent and together and roll all the way over onto your right side. Arms are extended along the floor in front of you, like in your sideline. You're going to keep your knees stacked and together and open your left arm back out to the left. So don't let the legs move. The whole idea here is, for those of us who are super tight in the left shoulder, the whole arm is hanging in space. For those of you that are considerably more pliable and flexible, your left hand, the back of the hand, and maybe part of the arm is on the floor, but your left shoulder blade should still be up. And so gravity is helping us here. So we just let the chest open. We'll do a deeper spinal twist in a moment, but for now, let it be all about the chest. And then on your next inhale, just roll onto your back. And then exhale and roll onto your left side, all the way over on your left side. Knees are bent, knees are together. They're stacked on top of each other. Arms are extended in front of you. You can see them. And you're just gonna let your right arm open back out behind you. You're gonna keep your knees stacked and together. So for most of us, that right arm is truly just hanging in the air. And that's the whole idea. The weight of your arm is providing just the right amount of pressure to give yourself a little stretch assist on the right side of your chest, right front shoulder. On your next inhale, come on back up, roll onto your back, hug your knees in, and rock side to side. So now we're going to keep the left knee hugged into the chest, extend the right leg all the way out onto the ground. And then I want you to come into just the left half of a dead bug. So your left hand is going to come to the inside of your left knee. Grab the arch of the foot, flex the foot. Try and get your lower leg perpendicular to the floor. And you're going to pull straight down. So you're just applying a little bit of pressure to the arch of the foot with the knee bent until you feel this in your left hamstring and maybe a little bit in the glute. Take a couple of breaths here. And then all we're going to do is switch hands. I want you to put your right hand where your left hand is. Only as much as your body allows, straighten the left leg. It may not go straight, that's okay. Let your left arm open out to the left. With your left leg as straight as you can keep it, put your right hand on the left foot, no matter what. You're going to bring that leg across the body. If you want to, it's okay to let it flop over, because again, with the left arm out, we're getting that chest stretch, but you're also getting a deeper spinal twist here. So make it work for you. If your left hamstring and hip are super tight, your left knee might be bent. Preferably it's straight, but maybe that's not today. If your left leg is straight and you're still hanging onto it with your right hand, then make sure your ankle and toes are flexed for that little bit of extra yumminess. Couple more breaths on this side. Go ahead and come on back up. And as you exhale, just hug your left knee in. When you're ready, bring your right knee up to meet it. And then we'll keep the right knee hugged in and extend the left leg all the way out on the ground. And then bring the right hand inside your right leg to grab the arch of the right foot. Lower leg is vertical, and you want to pull straight down on that foot. So you should feel this in your right hamstring, maybe a little bit in your right glute. And then all we're going to do is switch hands. Your left hand is going to grab the arch of your right foot. Your right arm opens out to the right. Only as much as you can does your right leg straighten. Whatever you do, don't let go of your foot. So maybe your right leg's not straight. That's okay. You're not being graded. It's all good. We're going to take the right leg across the body. If you want to, you are welcome to just kind of flop over, because if your right arm or even just the shoulder blade lifts off the ground, you're going to get a really good stretch to the right side of your chest. If your right leg is straight, flex the ankle and toes. And then on your next inhale, come on back up, and as you exhale, hug your right knee. Bring your left knee to meet it and rock side to side. From here, you can reach down and grab the outside edges of your feet and just do a little happy baby wiggle. So just see what's going on in the hips. You did a lot of front hip opening, but you did get some back hip and hamstring work. So just kind of explore if there's anything that needs to release. You've got time. Let the yoga work a little magic for you. And then when you feel like you're ready, we're going to bring the feet down to the ground. Let the knees drop open, soles of the feet together, and then we're going to come into a little bit of an original old school goddess pose. So the arms are going to come up and overhead along the floor, so over your head. Interlace your fingers, but extend your index fingers for Jupiter Mudra, about expansion. And what we're going to be expanding here is the front side of our body. So what I'd like you to do on your next inhale is strongly reach your knees for the ground while you reach through the fingertips. You're going to feel the front side of your body stretch and open a little bit. Your buttons are contracting, your low back is contracting. Your chest and your belly are open. On your next exhale, relax for a moment, breathe normally. We're going to do it one more time. As you inhale, reach the knees for the floor, reach the index fingers along the floor away from your head. So you're really just getting this nice stretch with an open belly and open heart, and then exhale and release the tension in the body. You can unlace your fingers, bring your hands below the height of the shoulders, and now we're just going to lengthen the low back. Soles of the feet are still together. Inhale and press your low back into the mat. So your pelvis is going to tilt. That means your pubic bone is going to kind of start to point up. Hold that while you keep breathing. Wait for your next exhale and then release. Let the curve come back into your spine. One more time, inhale, we're flattening and pressing the low back into the floor. Holding it like that while we breathe. And then the next time we breathe out, we release and begin to extend the legs. What I'd like you to do today is we're actually going to stretch into our Savasana. So once you feel like your legs are the correct distance apart for you for today, I want you to reach your arms overhead one more time and take a really deep breath in and imagine someone's playing tug of war with you. So your hands are being pulled in one direction and your feet are being pulled in the other and you're lengthening, and then you exhale. The feet should just flop. You're just going to let your arms slowly slide along the floor until they're in the right spot somewhere below your shoulders with your palms facing up. Make sure your buns feel soft, back of the neck feels long. Go ahead and close your eyes, soften all the muscles in the face. Take a deep breath in. Big sigh, as you just allow yourself to settle in to your Savasana for today. So just feeling each part of your body relax, feeling it softening into the floor. And so this element of surrender in our Savasana is so critical to one of the main purposes of our practice, which is peace. We want peace in our lives. We want peace in our hearts. So first, we just completely allow the body to be tension-free. There's literally no need to hold tension. You're lying on the floor, you're fine. So you let go. And then we let go of control of the breath. We know that our breath happens no matter what. We don't have to participate. So we've drawn back from having any kind of tension in the body. We're not participating physically because the body is simply resting. We've drawn back from having any input or participation in our breath. It's just doing what it does, and it doesn't really need our participation. So we can take a step back from that. And then ultimately, we take a step back from our thoughts. So your mind is just doing what your mind does. Thoughts are coming and thoughts are going. Little things flow through, and we allow that to happen too. We just take a step back, and we don't participate in that either. Maybe we watch the thoughts, but we don't get involved in them. We don't initiate thoughts, and we also don't resist thoughts. So it's effortless. So we have this effortless physical relaxation. We have this effortless breathing. And now we have this effortless witnessing of the thoughts without any participation. And it's in that effortlessness, that zero effort, that witness mode, That's where we find peace. That's where the peace exists. So for the next couple of minutes, I want you to just stay in that place of zero effort, physically, breath-wise, mentally, zero effort. Just watching, just witnessing, just observing, and simply experiencing peace. So noticing this deep peace that comes from withdrawing control and withdrawing effort. And recognizing that it is actually readily available at almost any time if we just give ourselves permission to take that step back and let go of effort and let go of control. Start to move your fingers and toes a little. Start to deepen your breath. When you're ready, take that deeper inhale, spread your fingers and toes, and as you exhale, relax them again. And then inhale and stretch again, stretch, and then exhale and relax. Bring your knees up, either with the feet resting on the floor, or you can actually hug your knees in your chest, whatever feels better for you. And then just take some time to roll to your right side if you can. And then from your right side, press yourself up into sitting. As you come to your seated position, just allow the shoulders to slide down the back. Feel yourself come into that really nice straight spine alignment, but with minimal effort. So today's breath, if you are able, is just going to be an ujjayi breath, and I'd like us to do the first 3 parts of the breath, which means we won't do the 4th part, which is holding your breath out. But if you're comfortable holding your breath in, we'll do that. If you're not comfortable holding your breath in, you're just going to skip that part. So it's just an ujjayi breath. And what I'd like for you to do is do it as a 1-1-2 ratio breath. Whatever you inhale, I'd like you to hold your breath for the same amount of time, and then exhale for twice as long. So you'll want to choose the length of your breath before you start, and then you can adapt breath by breath. So you might inhale for 4 seconds, hold for 4 seconds, and then exhale for 8 seconds. Or you might inhale for 3, hold for 3, exhale for 6. And again, if holding the breath makes you uncomfortable, then skip that part and just do a 1-to-2 ratio breath. So this is all through the nose. So just close the eyes. If you're comfortable with that, take a deep breath in through your nose. Big exhale through your nose. And then off you go. It's your own count for a 1-1-2 ratio breath. Go ahead and finish out the breath that you are on currently and take your time with that. And then slowly bring palms together in front of the heart. So we take a moment in gratitude for the ability to take a step back. We take a moment in gratitude for being a witness, for being an observer, for being able to simply watch with zero effort. We take a moment in gratitude for the peace that comes with that. One more deep breath in through the nose. And big exhale through the mouth. Palms to the forehead, just reminding us to be present. Palms to the lips, reminding us to speak our truth. And palms to the heart, reminding us to keep our hearts open, to always practice kindness and compassion and love. Thank you guys so much for being here today. Namaste.